still spending hours manually analysing spreadsheets and charts to pull out key insights? We'll let AI handle it in a matter of seconds. In today's video, we're going to run through exactly how we can actually upload a CSV file, analyze it with our AI agent to pull out key insights for maybe yourself, an exec audience, a sales team, whatever it may be. We're going to be able to generate multiple charts for it, like you can see on screen here. And we're going to be able to share all of this back with us over email so that we can use it repetitively. Or if we wanted to schedule this to run every single day, we could do that as well. This approach will save you lots of manual hours trying to go through and analyze all of this data and pull out the insights. We're going to help you get to those smarter decisions faster, quicker, and backed by data. But first, let's jump into a quick demo to see exactly how it works. We're going to come down to the bottom, execute workflow. We're going to need to add an email in here. So we're going to add mine in quickly. We're then going to add in our request at the bottom here, which is going to be the context. So we're going to say, please can it analyze the sales data, the Black Friday data that we've got in this case, to give the output. And we're looking for the revenue specifically. We'll be able to upload the data that we've got, which is 10,000 records in this case. All we need to do is press submit and it will trigger the rest automatically. As we can see here, it's getting all of the data for us, the 10,000 different rows that we've got in this CSV. We've now been able to pull out some initial quick insights for it, like we can see on the right hand side here, how much was spent by men, by women, by different categories, in total, the average purchase, incredibly quickly already. We've been able to generate, as you can see here, this exec level summary that we can go through and use in our email a bit later on. We've also been able to generate 3 amazing charts, which I'll show you in a second. And we sent it all back to us over Gmail. So now if I come across and we open it up, as we can see here, we've now got lots of key data. We can see the sales performance, $91.5 million across 10,000 transactions. We've got insights into different cities. We've got customer SKUs, and we've got the charts at the bottom here. So all I need to do is click open chart 1, click open chart 2 here, and click to open chart 3 here. This is all done automatically, and in this case we've got a blue color scheme, but you can completely change that to whatever you want. And if you want to be able to access this straight away, make sure to come across to our community. You'll get access to all of this for free as part of your 7-day free trial. We'll come into the classroom, across to our AI agents, which is one of the many modules that we've got in the community. We'll come down to where we've got n8n AI agents and the latest one here, which is all around CSVs into charts and insights. We'll see that we've got all of the different code modules here, as well as the prompts that we're going to be using and the curl requests for generating the charts. All you need to do is come down to the bottom, press the blueprint, download the blueprint, come into a new environment, 3 dots, import from file, choose the blueprint that we've got, and it will load up for you all automatically straight away, and you won't have to do a thing. But let's go through it and build it from scratch together today. So we're going to get rid of all of this. We're going to zoom into the start here. So we're going to come into here. We're going to do for. We'll open this up. We'll do on new form event. We're going to call the form title is data analysis. We'll then give it a description if you want. So we can say the ability to analyze CSV files that get submitted. We're then going to come down to form elements. We'll say email. We're going to come down and choose any context. We'll then also do one last one here, which is data to be analyzed. We've now got the 3 different inputs that we'll be able to use. The first 2 will remain as text, but this last one here, we're going to change to file. And if you wanted to, you could add the file type at the end here. So for example, you could do .csv and it would only let you update CSV files. That's all good to go though. And what we're going to do is do execute or test step. We'll see that we can add our data in there. So we'll do test at gmail.com. We'll add some context in there and we'll upload our file so we can use that for the testing today. We're going to press submit. And now if we come back across, we'll see that we've got the binary file, i.e. that CSV file that's come across. and we can see in the schema all of the key details for us to go through and use. We're going to come out of there. We're going to zoom in a little bit so we can go through the next couple of steps. The next part here is we're going to do extract, because we need to be able to extract all of the information that's in this file here. So we'll just come through, copy this name and paste in there. This is how our workflow knows that this is the file that we're going to be ingesting, and that name will never change because it's the name that's also in our E form at the start here. So it makes sure that it's all matching up. Let's come back across. Now what we can see is we've got lots of different information for us to be able to use. We're not going to run through that today though. We're going to do execute step. And now what we should see is that we've got 10,000 individual rows that we've been able to extract from our CSV file from earlier on. And we can go through and see that we've got IDs around the user, we've got the gender, we've got age, occupation, purchase amount, and much, much more that we'll be able to use. This is really good data though. And what we're going to do is say this is a regular reporting that we do on this data. We'll be able to add a code module in here, because that data will then be able to get some high level insights incredibly quickly versus trying to use, as we can see here, an LLM model at the top, mainly because for many of you, you won't have the token limit, i.e. a high enough word limit to be able to use an LLM to get those insights straight away. We need to break it up, make it a bit more manageable with a code module before we go through and analyze it with an LLM a bit later on. If we come back into here though, we'll see that we've got our code module now. What we're going to need to do is change this JavaScript. So we're going to come across to the community. We'll come back up to where we've got our code module at the top here. So what you'll need to do is copy the example that I've got here, put it into ChatGPT. You'll explain the row headers that you've got in there so that it will be able to update it for that specific workflow that you've got. If we do test step, what we should see is that it will go through and do some analysis for us incredibly quickly. And as we can see here, we've now got that data coming back to us, and we'll be able to use this throughout the rest of the workflow. So for example, we can see that we've got 10,000 records. We can see here that we had a total revenue of $91,524,877. So quite a lot that came through in this just dummy data that we've got. We can see that the average purchase was around $9,000. We've got lots and lots more information here that we will be able to use. And again, you just need to make sure you change this code module here to be specific to that data set that you get through quite regularly. Once we've done this, we'll now be able to come through and we're going to do aggregate. This just makes it a little bit easier for our LLMs a bit later on. We're going to do all data into a single list, because then what we can do is, if we have a look on the side here, we've got lots and lots of individual fields that we can use. Whereas now we're going to be able to group all of this under data, so we can just pass that straight into our AI agent, and it makes it a bit easier versus having to go through and tell it each of these parts. We'll come across, we're going to do basic LLM chain. The reason for this is if I come out of here, we'll see that we can add our AI model, and we've got the choice of all of these different ones. So if you wanted to use something with really high intelligence, you could use Claude's brand new Opus 4, or if you wanted to come down and use O3 from OpenAI, you could do that as well. We're going to use OpenAI for today, and we'll just change this to 4.1 to go through with some level of intelligence that's quite high for these models to get some outputs without being too expensive. If you've not added your API key before, you need to make sure that you come to the top, create a new credential. You want to come across to Playground of OpenAI. You want to do dashboard, API keys, and then create a new key. Just add one in here with a name, create a key, come back and paste in here, save it, and you'll be all good to go. That's how quick and easy it is to get set up. We're going to come out of here though, because we need to come into this one, which is going to analyze all of this data before we get it to generate the chart, as well as the report that we'll get over email. We're going to change this to be defined below. The reason for this is because we can then pull over where we've got the data on the left-hand side to be able to use this data versus, for example, if we come into here and we wanted to use the output from the code module, we'd have to pull this across one by one. So it will take quite a while to get that. Instead, we're just going to aggregate it all together and pass it across in one big group. The next part, we're going to come down and add a system prompt in here. This is going to tell our AI how to analyze the data. So we'll come across to our community again. We'll come down here. We're going to copy the AI agent prompt. We'll copy and then paste in here. What we said is it's really skilled at being able to analyze the data. It's going to try and pull out some insights from all of this on the left-hand side here. And we can see what the user's request was. So for example, user request, we can then come to the left-hand side, come back to the start, and we can pull across that context. It's going to say undefined. So if we want to use this, we'll need to come out of here. We'll do merge. And then what we'll be able to do is come across. We'll do combine. We'll then do by position. We'll then come to out of here. Come back to the start, we'll pull this across, and now we'll be able to combine that data that we had from the code module and that request from the user. So if we open this back up, we can now see that user's request is all visible, and that's one of the features I love about n8n, is we'll be able to see exactly what this module is going to be passed through. So now if we come back in here, we'll just do test step. What we should see on the right hand side is that executive insight that's being produced, and we'll be able to share it back with our leadership team a bit later on. We'll be able to come out of here, do save, and this is the first part. The next part, we need to come across and prep our data before sending it off to QuickChart IO. So we're going to do another basic LLM chain. We're going to come back out of here, we'll connect up our AI brain so it's all good to go. We'll come through, we're going to do define below for the input. We're going to say exec summary. We're then going to pull across our text. We'll just remove this. We're going to open this up. So now what we'll be able to see on the right hand side is all of those key insights for us to be able to play back to leadership. We'll be able to come out of here. We can come down to the bottom, add a prompt. We're going to add our system prompt in here. So we'll just change this back to expression. We're going to open this up. We'll come back across to our community. Come down to the prep chart module, we'll come down and copy all of this, copy and then paste in here. And what we've basically done is given it some guidance on how to make sure that we get that data nice and easily structured before we pass it across to chart.io, which is completely free to use to generate the charts for our report. So just to show you, if we come across to QuickChart.io, we'll see here that it's been used by lots and lots of large companies. We've got lots and lots of different types of charts that we can use. But what we need to make sure is if we come back up to the top, is we're doing it in this structure here. And that's what we're getting our basic LLM ready to do, is this body that we're going to be sending across here. So we'll come back across. We're going to come out of here. We'll just rename this to our prep visualization data. We'll then come and do execute step. This will go through and execute it on the right hand side for us. What we should do is get a nice JSON body request that comes back. So this will go through and finish up any second. There we go. And if we see here, it's all ready to go for us, but it's not quite ready yet. We're going to need to come through and just do a code module because it needs to be reformatted slightly, as we can see here, just to get the output for us to use. We'll come and paste in here. What this will do is it will take us for this structure on the left-hand side and just break it out if we've got multiple charts, but also make sure that it's in the correct format for us to be able to send that request across. There we go. So now we can see that we've got 3 charts that are going to be generated for us to pass across. We're going to come in here, we'll do loop, because we're going to need to send off each of these individually. We're going to keep the batch size as 1. We'll remove where it's got replace me. For the loop, we'll pull down and we're going to do HTTP request. We're then going to come back across to the community. We're going to copy this curl request that's all ready to go and then import in here. Now what we can do is make sure that this is expression because it's going to be using the output from our code module. This is going to be generate chart. So we'll just rename that. We'll be able to do execute step. And then what we should be able to see is that it loops through. So as we can see here, we've got 1. So we'll just reconnect it back up. We can see that we've got this URL here. So if we copy and then paste, what we can see here is it's all ready to go for us straight away. So this is what we're going to do 3 times, is make sure that we get each of the charts back across into our email that we'll send across. We'll come out of here. What we can also do is, as we showed in Gmail, we're going to be sending the links. But if you want to download them, all you need to do is come through HTTP request. We're then going to put across the URL from our output of the HTTP module. We're going to come down to the bottom where it's got response. We'll change this to be file. So now if I do execute step, what we'll see is on the right hand side, we should get a PNG file that we'll be able to store, as you can see here, in Google Drive, or we could send it back over Telegram, Slack, anything like that. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to show you how to do that. More than happy to do so, but we're not going to be downloading them today. We're just going to be looping around to get each one before we send it off to our emails. We're going to come up, we're going to do aggregate once done. And then what we need to do is add all of the different URLs that we're going to get. So I'm going to come out of here, just do test step on aggregate, because what it will do is it should come through and trigger our loop just to go through and generate all of those URLs. Now we can see on the left hand side, we got the URL, which we can put across. Now if we do execute step again, we should be able to aggregate those 3 URLs into one array that we'll be able to make look a little bit neater before we put it into our email. And there we go on the right hand side, all ready to go. So if I copy this across and open this up in a new chart, we can see here that it's talking about category 5 data. We can come back across, copy and then paste, and we can see this is our third chart. So it's talking around how the men had the larger revenue spent, whereas the females are 22%. So it's quite interesting. We can see here that the colors would just need to be updated in the prompt. I've also said to give it a blue color theme. That's why it's all blue, but you can completely change this to whatever you want. We'll come back across. What we can do is do save. We're then going to need to merge some data together so that we can send it back. We're going to come down and do combine. We're going to change this to be positions, and we're going to keep it as 2 inputs. If we come out of here, what we can do is just pull this down to the bottom. We're going to need to come back to the start where we had our on form submission. We can connect this up in here. We'll do test step. Then what this will enable us to do is have all of the URLs plus some of the other information that we had a bit earlier on, such as that name, the context, anything else that we need to send back, but critically that email for us to send in Gmail. I did mention that, of course, we had the URLs as well. Currently, we can see that they're put into the second input here in that array. So we want to break them out and make them look a little bit nicer like we have in here. And to do that, we're going to come back out of here. We'll do a code module. We'll then change the code that we've got in here. So back across to the community. We'll copy what we've got in here. We'll come back across. We're going to paste and then do execute step. Now what we should do is have chart 1 and then the actual URL, and this will be much better for us to see when we send that email. So now what we can do on the last step here is just add Gmail in here. We can do send a message. We've already got our integration ready to go. If you've not done that before though, you want to create a new credential, I'll include the link below to this page here. We've got lots of other demos in the community that show you how to do this and on our channel as well. And this will just walk you through how to get it set up, but it's quite time consuming. And that's why we've just shown you quickly the other parts of the process. We'll close this down. We're going to do message is send. We're going to put across from our merge module the email address that we're going to be sending it to. We're going to say the subject is insights ready. And then if we wanted to, we could add the date, time, or any reports. Maybe if this was on a schedule one, we could send it every morning at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We're going to change the message so we can actually put this to expression, open this up. We'll just pull out from the left-hand side slightly. We'll say, hi there. The insights are ready for your request. Exec summary. We'll then be able to put across from the left-hand side here where we had our analysis from a bit earlier on. So we'll actually come down to analysis agent. We'll pull this across in here. We then come down and we can say charts. We can then come back up to the top here. We'll add across our code module. We can come down and do many thanks. And then we could say analysis team or analysis agent, whatever you want. We'll come out of here. What we can see is on our email at the moment, we've got it automatically sent with n8n. If you want to turn this off, come down to options, append n8n attribution. You just want to turn that off and it will get rid of it. We're not going to do that today though. We'll come back in here and we'll just do execute step. I'll just rerun this quickly with my email in it so we can see it all sent across. So there we go. I've just sent it off with my email included. If we come back across to Gmail, we'll come into that new email. There we go. We can see we've got all of the points in here. It looks like it's all bunched up, and that's because if we come across, I forgot to change this to text. So now if we retest the step, we should get that email come back through, and it shouldn't be all clumped together. It should be nicely formatted. So it's gone again. We'll come back across to G. We see that we've got the new email at the top here. We'll open this up. As we can see, we've now got all of this information really clearly and easily accessible. So for example, the revenue, we've got some really clear insights that we can use. And we've got the link to these 3 charts that we can download using presentations and much, much more. That's a really quick video just to show you how to be able to analyze CSVs and lots of data in n8n. This would be great for lots of those sales teams or any teams really that use lots of data for reporting. Make sure to come across to the community to get access to all of the resources and to be able to check out much more that we've got access to. So for example, image generation courses, 101 courses. But that's all for today. Stay tuned for more around AI agents, automation, and have a great day.